Good evening, Norcal Karters. It's January 4th, 2021, and we made it out of 2020. It was a great year. A lot of good things happened in our household in 2020, and from a racing standpoint, yeah, a lot of people got derailed and sidetracked, but there was also a lot of great racing. There's a lot of great efforts put in by a lot of local tracks and promoters to keep the racing going. So yeah, you can always find the positive and stuff. And again, for me personally and for my family, 2020 was a pretty good year. And we had to adjust. We had to be nimble. But I know for many of you, you just wanted to get out of 2020, get to 2021. And here we are, 2021, January 4th. And this is the weekly update. So sometime between now and next week, I'm going to do a recap of last year. I'm going to go through and thank our sponsors from 2020. But since this is our first show for 2021, I want to say thank you to the sponsors that stayed on board. I need to make a lot more phone calls. I just haven't really done it. I'm not going to lie. It had the winter, not the blues, just the vacation time mentality, spending a lot of time with the family, and need to get back on those phone lines. But this is our weekly update, and stuff is happening. There's events going on. So let's see here. Let me click over to my notes. Let's see. And if you're listening to this live, you can click on the link on Facebook or go to norcalkarters.com. Click on the Spreaker icon or the Spreaker app, and that will actually allow you to chime in and chat live if you want to put some input on. I'm also working on some guests. So NCK Road Racing, they're going to do a Speed Vegas event this year. It looks like it's going to be in April. And so we're lining up some guests to talk about how the event went in October. So that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Let's see here. You know what? I deleted my page. So a thank you to our new sponsor for 2021. Returning is Challenge of the Americas, Andy Saisman's group. And Andy's been on a number of times last year on the podcast. And that guy really should have his own show. I mean, I think he likes to hear himself talk. But, I mean, he was just off the cusp. Not cusp, cuff. Off the cuff? Maybe I should look that up. But, I mean, he's just rolling with it. I brought up Prairie City, that we had an event coming up. And he spent 10 minutes talking about Prairie City and going to the track and the Durbans and the stuff they were doing up there. And I was kind of took me off guard because he's from Southern California and he just rolled with it. But I'm so glad to have Andy and his series back again as sponsors of the NorcalKarters.com. And they have an event coming up here in a couple of weeks. They actually have a deadline. So pre-registration deadline is going to be January 10th. So if you're listening to this right now, that gives you about 5 days. I believe they are still accepting entries after the deadline, but the price is going to go up. And I don't know if they cut the online registration off and you have to register at the door or how that's going to work. But that's going to be at Phoenix, PKRA, Phoenix Kart Racing Association. So January 22nd through the 24th is the first round of Challenge of the Americas, and they are the West Coast Vortex Rock Cup USA Series. Got the hiccups. I had some tacos earlier, and they were delicious. Just ate too many. But yeah, they have a lot of exciting things going on. The Vortex Rock Cup USA group, they're using the new Levanto tires, and a lot of the NorCal teams have been testing on them. And the feedback on the tire has been pretty good. I haven't driven them yet. So if someone wants me to send me a set or two, I'll test them out. But I'm going to be slow regardless. So of course they're going to be good. But yeah, a lot of teams have been testing on them. I know Gary Carlton's been testing with them. And again, Gary Carlton is also a sponsor for 2021. He joined up the last couple of months of 2020. And so what we're going to do with GFC is we're going to put on our calendar his race calendar so people will know where he is going. So if you're a local shop that's traveling, or maybe you're just going to pick one club. For example, maybe you're going to go out to Blue Max every single race. Or you go out to Blue Max every weekend in your local shop and you want people to know that. Reach out to me. For a small fee, we'll put you on the calendar. We'll link my calendar to your website and your contact information or your Facebook page, wherever you want to be linked to. But yeah, I know Gary's been testing the tire. Gary's been supporting the Norcal Karters project. I know he is going down to Phoenix for the January 22nd through 24th event. So yeah, we have racing is going on. Racing is going. And let's see, the NCK guys, I know they're working on their schedule for 2021. I already mentioned the Speed Vegas event in April. I know I'm really jumping ahead on that one, but it's kind of front of my mind because I'm going to have a couple of their racers on the show talking about their experience with the Speed Vegas track. And again, NCK, they were a sponsor last year of Norcal Karters. We appreciated it, and they signed up again this year for another year to support the calendar, and we're going to promote their events for them. And who else do we have on board? Like I said, I erased my notes by accident because I'm a dummy. Rok Sonoma, they signed up towards the end of last year, and so we did kind of a 2-year deal with them to promote their events. So if you're a local track or a promoter and you want more airtime on the Norcal Karter podcast, reach out to me. I mean, the packages are pretty affordable. It only takes you a couple of entries to really pay for the advertising package, so it's not outrageously expensive. I don't know how I'm doing the calendar this year. In years past, every calendar that was firm and that was made public, I tried to put on our calendar that related to Norcal Karters, and not the website, but just, kart racers in Northern California. And again, COVID hit. So a lot of the tracks and the promoters were scrambling. Some promoters just threw their hands up in the air and says, nope, we're canceling for the year. Some other tracks were just told for a long period of time, no, you're not going to be open, especially if they were in the Bay Area. I know Sonoma, they actually had to cancel their awards banquet because the whole Bay Area went on lockdown. So it's, stuff happens. But yeah, I normally try to put all the events on there. Again, I'm going to have to focus on the sponsors first, get their information, keep them up to date the best I can. And then as race schedules come available, even if I don't put them on my calendar, I do try to share them on our Facebook page, which is Norcal Karters. But if you feel like you need some more attention on our show, reach out to me. Let's put a package together for you. And, speaking of local tracks, we have Prairie City. They're working on an enduro event, later in January. Give me 1 second here. I don't have it on the calendar right now, but I do have it on the Facebook page. So bear with me for a second. And it looks like their link took me elsewhere. But again, it's in a couple of weeks at Prairie City. It's an enduro event using their rental carts. So you can go to Norcal Karters, go on the link, or you can also go to the Prairie City website or their Facebook page. So that's January. We already talked about Challenge of the Americas. There was a group of NCK racers. They were out at Thunder Hill this past Monday. So racers are on the track. It was a little bit wet and slippery from my understanding, but racers are making their way to the track. And many of you know Henry. Henry runs a 125. Henry Damas, and if you've been to Prairie City or you've been to Blue Max, and you pay any attention to shifters, you know Henry. So he's starting his 125 group. So it's very similar to the 80 group that kicked off about a year and a half ago. It's going to be very similar to that. However, just 125s, open platform, open engines. So he has a little Facebook group that he's starting there. So go check that out. He's been out the track past couple of weeks driving. So yeah, racers are getting on the track. There was one more event that I had, but for some reason, like I said, I accidentally deleted my notes after I went live, so I missed it. But it'll pop up. I'll see it here in a second. So we talked about the 125 group. Actually, he's calling the group Limited 125 Shifters of NorCal. That's the Facebook page group. And again, it's really more of a club-based, sportsman-based group. I think they're going to try to piggyback off of some club races. And the reason it's called Limited is they don't care if it's a Honda, a Vortex, a TM, etc. But the ideas were thrown around to have the 125s restricted down a bit, primarily for our local Central Valley tracks. And so that's the reason they call it Limited 125 Shifters. And of NorCal, because it's starting in Northern California. Sorry. Like I said, I deleted my notes, and I find myself scrambling just a tick because I had everything bulleted and going, but now I'm kind of winging it. So bear with me. Well, we're going to have a little bit different approach. Again, if you want to chat live, you could click on the Spreaker app, or you can go on Spreaker, Spreaker, and look for Norcal Karters. If you go on the Norcal Karter page right now and click on podcast, it'll show it's playing live. And if you go on our Facebook page, Norcal Karters, it'll show that it's playing live. Now, I typically don't read the comments if it's on the Facebook page until afterwards. But if you're using the app, then I'll get notified and respond live right away. So give me one moment while I regroup. All right, let's do this. Let's see here. Challenge of the Americas, January 22nd through the 24th, Phoenix. And again, Andy and his crew, this is going to be their second year of sponsoring Norcal Karters. We do appreciate your support. February 26th through the 28th, the Challenge of the Americas. They will be at the Fontana track. Now, some of you may have Fontana is the first race and Phoenix is the second race. However, a few weeks ago, Andy decided to switch the schedule around, maintaining the same weekends but switching the tracks. One, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, NASCAR scheduled an event on top of their January event. So that means no Fontana track for go-karters. And two, California started mandating shutdowns and stay-at-homes and all that fun stuff. And it was just a smarter decision to, have a track, the first race being so close to the whole COVID thing, not being California. So, February 26th through the 28th, Challenge of the Americas will be at Fontana. And March 26th through the 28th, Challenge of the Americas is heading to Sonoma for their 3-round series. And again, Challenge of the Americas is the West Coast National Series for the Vortex program. And I was trying to have Andy on tonight, but he had some other obligations. But he does a great job just carrying the show. I love having him on. Sometimes the shows run a lot longer than they should, but I always learn something new about him or his perspective on karting, and I think it's interesting. So yeah, that's Challenge of the Americas 3-race series. And again, as other tracks and promoters get their calendars out, we'll start putting them on the calendar. If you only have dates but no tracks, or tracks and no dates, I'm not going to put you on the calendar. So make sure your dates and your events are going to be firm as they can be. But I don't. For me, it takes a lot of work to update the calendars, get them live on the websites, etc., to go in and do redundant work. And like I said, Challenge of the Americas, GFC Karting, I already mentioned him earlier, Gary Carlton, but GFCKarting.com, he is a sponsor. He was our first shop that actually signed up for the calendar. And what we're going to do with Gary is promote the races he's going to. So Gary's working on updating his race calendar. I know for sure he is going to Challenge of the Americas. So I'll have to get that updated. And as we see other schedules come out, I kind of imagine maybe he's waiting for that too, is some of these other series to release their calendars. Let's see here. I talked about the sponsors at the beginning and saying thank you to them because it is appreciated. But let's highlight them again. NCKRoadRacing.com. That is the road racers of Northern California that race at Thunder Hill, Sonoma, Laguna Seca, Speed Vegas, Willow Springs. So the big car tracks, they put the go-karts on there. And there's a great group of dudes. It's a very, for as fast as those guys are going, it's actually a pretty mellow group. And most of the classes go over 100 miles an hour. So if the need for speed is your thing, check out NCKRoadRacing.com. Again, they were a sponsor last year. They're carrying it over to this year. We talked about Rok Sonoma. And Rok Sonoma, they joined towards the end of last year, supporting the calendar. And they're on board for 2021 as well. And I'm going to have to kiss someone's ass once I realize who else I forgot out there. But I did mention over the next week, I'm going to actually do a recap podcast for our supporters in 2020. And I think I gave them a lot of airtime anyway. So if you're a regular listener to the show, you'll probably know who the sponsors are. Because I do try to give them a lot of airplay because without their money, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to try to keep the subscriptions and the equipment and the websites going. Honestly, it's not a terrible amount of money. It's more just that motivation of, oh, this is great. It's not coming out of my pocket this month. So it's a working progress. It's a working kind of business model. I'm trying not to dilute the website with a bunch of advertisers and flash ads and things like that. So when you go to NorcalKarters.com, you'll notice it's actually very, very plain. And primarily for that reason. The site's supposed to be for the racer, and I don't want the information diluted with just a bunch of advertising. But it is nice having a couple of checks come through here now and then. You know what? I got an idea. Bear with me. I may like cancel this if it gets too loud on me, but there's my, okay, there we go. I actually updated my podcast stuff. So last year, 2020, at the beginning of the year, I hit it pretty heavy. I called it Year of the Club, meaning there would be an emphasis to promote the local karting clubs. And we were really on track to really do very well with that. But again, COVID-19. Hey, it was COVID-19, so 2021, it shouldn't be around anymore, right? Because that's so 2019. But 2020 was Year of the Club, and the focus was to be highlighting what the local clubs are doing, support your local clubs, because without them, it's harder to get people into the sport when there's not tracks all over the place. And two, for the race promoters that don't own a track, if there's not a track for them to bring their people to, we don't have series. So yeah, last year was supposed to be 2020 Year of the Club. I'm going to keep that theme going. And what I'm going to do is every year I'm going to add a different thing to kind of my focus for the podcast and for Norcal Karters. So we're going to continue to build on Year of the Club. But this year, 2021, it's going to be Year of the Awards. And Andy and I talked about it a little bit. A lot of these race promoters bust their ass just trying to find any gimmick. And that's what it is. It's a gimmick. Trying to find any gimmick to make sure they're bringing in more entries. And when I say gimmick, I'm not trying to make fun of them. But it's a capture. It's like Norcal Karters. I need a gimmick to bring people to my website so I can say, hey, would you like to sponsor the website? Because I have this, this, and that. And over the past few years, the real focus of the Norcal Karters has been the calendar. So we'll call that my gimmick. Well, the promoters, they bust their ass off trying to find prizes and bring value to their series just beyond the actual racing itself. And I have to be careful how I say this, because I don't want it to be a hurtful thing, because that's not my intention. But some of the promoters do such a great job at getting people to the track and promoting the next event. They almost forget about the hard work they put into getting these prizes together. And so I could sit there and complain and bitch and moan and say, oh, you guys aren't doing this and you're not doing that. Well, instead, I'm still going to bitch and moan because it's kind of my nature. But 2021 is going to be Year of the Awards. So if you are a race series, I don't care if you sponsor me or not. If you are a race series and you have some awards that you're going to be giving out at every event or maybe some special events, send me the list and I will highlight it for you. So 2021 is going to be Year of the Awards. 2020, Year of the Club. 2021, Year of the Awards. So please, like I said, whether you sponsor me or not, send me that list. And I will highlight that for you. And we can even take it a step further. Give me the list after the race of who won the awards. And I don't care what the awards were. In all honesty, I have not been to a pro karter race in a few years. But Tom used to hand out these mother's buckets. I actually have a couple in my garage still. And there were a lot of awards. There were a lot of prizes. He would hand out fuel, tires, race entries. Pretty much every shop that supported that series donated something to these awards. And if you weren't there, you almost didn't know about it. And that was kind of catch. I mean, it's for those of you that know what I'm talking about, Tom would pull the entries out of a bucket. And if you weren't present at the awards, at the end of the day awards, you didn't get your award. And there were a few times you'd see people pulling out, they hear their name, they stop, they go running back for their prize. But again, I complained about it. It's like, man, you guys do a good job at getting these awards. Let's highlight it. Last year, Rok Sonoma gave away a test ride in an F4 to the junior, I believe it was the junior 100cc champion. So an F4 test ride. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, sometimes there's sponsorships from whatever teams are doing these awards. And a lot of times, these prizes come right out of the budget of that series to try to bring more racers to the track. So 2021 will be year of the awards. So if you're listening to this, send me your list of awards. We will highlight it. Don't tell me on the phone. Don't text me. Send it to my email, norcalkarters@gmail.com, or send me a message through Facebook Messenger. So it's in writing. Don't text me. If you text me, it will get lost. And yeah, 2021, year of the awards. Yeah, I'm kind of on focus here. I got my Stella got his groove back. Yeah, we talked about Rok Sonoma coming back for 2021 Challenge of the Americas. California Rok Championship. That is Andy's spring/summer series for the Rok stuff, which is a little bit more, we'll call that one more of his regional focus, club/regional focus, where Challenge of the Americas is the national level focus. We'll call the California Rok Championship his regional focus. And I'm super, super, super excited about this one because they are going to Pat's Acres. And Pat's Acres is not in California. It's not in Northern California. It's actually in Oregon. It's about 15 minutes south of Portland. Beautiful track, beautiful facility, a wonderful family that runs Pat's Acres, the Eggers family. And it's going to be July 23rd through the 25th. And when Andy told me that, I should have just stopped the show right there because I kind of just fangirled out on him because we were supposed to go to Pat's Acres last year for the Track Magic Owners Group Rally. And if it wasn't COVID, it was wildfires. So the organizers, they just had to shut it down. Too many people were traveling in from out of state. So when Andy said they were going up to Pat's Acres for one of their California Rok Championship events, I thought that was just fantastic. Hopefully the Track Magic thing, maybe they could piggyback off of it and just make it a hell of an event. But while we're talking about that, CRC, California Rok Championship, May 21st. I'm sorry. Yeah, May 2021. The 7th and the 8th is round 1. June 12th and the 13th is round 2, combined with Rok Sonoma. Round 3, July 23rd through the 25th, Pat's Acres. Round 4, combined with Rok Sonoma, is August 21st and 22nd. And I think the final round, September 25th and 26th, is going to be their final round. So that's California Rok Championship. And again, for all the information on Challenge of the Americas or California Rok Championship, it's the same promoter. And the website is challengekarting.com. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to Pat's Acres. So it just, like I said, it's a great track. It's a fun track. Last time I drove that track, it was at a Pro Tour race. I sucked. I'm pretty sure when I go up there next in July, I'm going to suck. But it's such a fun track. It is beautiful. It's just a beautiful area. July, Northern California is probably going to be about 105 degrees. July in Oregon is probably going to be about 80 degrees. Beautiful trees surrounding the track. It's right on a river. It's just, I can't talk enough about it. Excellent food in the area. For those that want to make it an event, there's a bunch of wineries out there. It's just, the area is just gorgeous. So yeah, let's see here. Oh, and so I get this on the calendar for Gary Carlton, but he's sending over a message. Confirmed for GFC Karting. Florida Winter Tour. Challenge of the Americas. Rock Fest West, which is the rock festival. Rok Sonoma. California Rok Championship. Rock Vegas, which last year was called Rock the Rio, and the SCUSA Super Nationals. So that is what Gary has confirmed on his racing calendar for 2021. Like I said, I'll get something updated on the calendar for him and for GFCKarting.com. And you know what? I think I'm going to wind it up. I tend to ramble. I'm already going on 30 minutes. Now, some of the things I have been working on in the off-season, NorcalKarters.com, it needs an update. So I will get in there over the next week. I will update NorcalKarters.com. I have been posting a lot more on Facebook on the Norcal Karters page. So, hit the like button if you go there. And then also on YouTube, I have been working on videos. And the production quality sucks. So don't judge me. I'm not a producer. I'm not an editor, etc. But a lot of the videos I started knocking out here in the winter were very, very, very simple videos. How to know what bolt pattern your cart has. What size is your axle? What size gas tank do I need for my go-kart? So for the experienced racers, you're going to see some of those videos and go, man, this is just too simple. But the reason I started doing these very simple videos, at one point we all had a day one. And I remember my day one when I got a go-kart, everything interchanged in my head. Oh, it's a go-kart. That spindle's going to fit this. And then karting is a very, very hands-on sport. So you have two options. You can be hands-on. You can educate yourself. You can maintain your own equipment, or you can contact a local team or a local shop and have them do everything for you at their shop rate. So it's kind of hard to be in the middle of that. It's going to be very difficult for you to go to a shop or a team as a do-it-yourselfer and want free help when the shops and the teams. Honestly, I think most of them would, if they won the lottery, they probably would do it for free. But they haven't hit the lottery, and they got to make ends meet, and a lot of them are just busy, and not too busy for you. Just they are busy. I see it almost with every single race team, and I see it with almost every shop when I'm visiting with them or talking to them. They always need 50% more manpower. So Norcal Karters, that's what I'm working on with the YouTube channel. Again, the production quality isn't going to be very good at first, but really focusing on the basic questions. And the whole idea of Norcal Karters is just to get more people in the sport. I don't care where they race. I don't care what they race. I kind of have my preferences. A lot of you know I'm a shifter guy. I mean, I love the shifter stuff, but I don't care. Let's just get new people in. And a couple of years ago, somebody told me if all of us just got one person into karting this year, karting would double. And let's just get one person into karting. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up the first edition of the 2021 podcast of Norcal Karters. And for those of you that have shared the podcast, that have liked the podcast, that have commented on the podcast, I appreciate it. And we'll just keep it going. And over the next week, we'll do a revisit to 2020 and a thank you to all of our past sponsors. And again, we'll re-highlight the sponsors that stayed on board for 2021. And if I'm not getting your series or you're not getting enough attention, reach out to me. Let's put something together. So with that, have a great 2021. Let's go race.